This is where I start to get pissed off. With another pointless international break amongst us, we look forward to next summer, where the sight of the England national team in a fixture that actually matters is upon us as they kick off their World Cup campaign in Russia. Ooh. And with that in mind, the inevitable question pops up. Can England actually win the World Cup? Well, it seems like everybody has an opinion on it, so here's mine and a list of potential reasons why the Three Lions could bring football home. The first point I want to mention is our real lack of defensive options. This hasn't always been the case in years gone by, with the big physical brick shithouses ready to play anywhere along the back line. But now we are left with an ageing Gary Cahill, an out of form Michael Keane, two injury prone stars in Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, and a mid-table merchant in Harry Maguire. Now, I'm not saying these are bad players, but they hardly carry the prestige that will strike fear into the hearts of opposition forwards like Terry or Ferdinand would. Still, individuals don't necessarily define how the unit performs. Just look at Leicester's title winning season a few years back. And with Joe Hart's error-filled time as England #1 coming to an end, we actually have some positive goalkeepers in the sticks, with Stoke's Jack Butland and Burnley's Tom Heaton putting in some impressive performances. And despite their defensive frailties, England actually have some good options when going forward in the attacking areas. Starting in the midfield, there's the likes of Jordan Henderson's passing and the creativity of Adam Lallana, which is a real plus point, balanced out by the fantastically defensive-minded Eric Dyer, of course. There's pace and skill out wide in the likes of Raheem Sterling and Marcus Rashford, who are supported by flying wingbacks like Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, Danny Rose and Ryan Bertrand. And up front, the relationship built between Tottenham teammates Harry Kane and Dele Alli can only spur England on, if you'll pardon the pun. The vast majority of these players play in fantastic attacking formations and with tactical prowess week in week out in the Premier League, so it looks like England will have to join the score one more than the opposition school of thought. The only downside of this is that they're taught this wonderful attacking play by foreign coaches who will have their own team's interests at heart way above the interests of the English Football Association. For example, the likes of Guardiola, Pochettino and Klopp have brought with them their country's own flair and style when it comes to attacking play. But should England come up against Spain, Argentina or Germany respectively, they'll probably be coming up against defences who are used to playing against these kind of attackers. And this brings me perfectly onto my next point about England's tactical ineptitude. Well, the long and short of it is, we see brilliant football played every week as a direct result of exceptional visionaries and fantastic coaches who consistently use different tactical resources to outfox their opponents in the ever-changing footballing landscape. But when the England players then join national duty, they're coached by average player turned less than average manager Gareth Southgate. Now I know he hasn't been in charge long, but the results have been less than impressive and the performances have been even worse. There isn't really a clash of styles as Southgate has been promoted from within and therefore should really be accustomed to the philosophy of the FA. What is the FA's footballing philosophy? Well, it seems that nobody knows, not even them. All they do is bounce around from team to team trying to copy whoever's been winning the most recent international tournaments. Take Roy Hodgson for example. Now, during the lead up to the Euros, he played a 4-2-3-1 system throughout the 10 qualifiers. 10 games, 10 wins, everything's looking fine. We then come to the actual tournament where he decides to field an untested and untried with the England squad 4-4-2 diamond formation. As I said, not only was it untried, but none of the players in that squad had come from a team who'd been playing that formation that season. Oh, and to top it all off, he had the best forward in Harry Kane taking corners. Well done, Roy. I would like to see Gareth Southgate succeed, of course I would. But I just can't see it happening right now. Lastly, we come to the one issue which I believe is behind all the psychological mishaps of recent times for England. The media. More specifically, shitty newspapers. These are the type of newspapers and media outlets who want England to fail more than anything because it sells. It's the type of negative mental attitude which has depicted our nation as a whole when it comes to football tournaments. Don't get me wrong, disagreeing with a player, a coach or a style of play is absolutely fine because it's your opinion. But taking constant joy and laughing at the failure of the England team that you're supposed to be backing, I'm not having it. Sam Allardyce for example. I know what he did was wrong about giving advice on how to skirt the FA rules, but going undercover to film him and then selling it to the newspaper is like ratting out one of your own. I'd never for 1 second turn my back on an English player and leave them up shit creek without a paddle. Now I know these players have paid huge sums of money, but it doesn't mean they don't feel abuse any less, especially when it comes from their own fans. We all marvelled at how amazing the Iceland team, coaches, supporters and country were in Euro 2016, so why don't we do that? So it's time to stop the negative attitudes. Stop acting like bratty teenagers behind a keyboard, stop acting like bitter adults who are failed footballers, and get behind your country. Stop hoping to see that our fellow English compatriots crash and burn, and let them know that they have the support of a nation behind them, regardless of who they're playing, where they're playing, and which 11 is put out. I may not completely agree with everything the FA or Gareth Southgate does, but I'd rather see England progress to the semi-finals than see some newspapers fly off the shelves. And to be honest, it's plausible to see England could get to the semi-finals. They could get a good draw in the group and a bit of luck in the knockout rounds, so why not? So with that rant over, it's time for me to shut up and listen to your thoughts. Let me know how far you think England can progress in the World Cup. And who would you have in the squad? Let me know in the comments below and I'll read the best ones out on Monday's episode of 1-2.